Okay folks, thanks very much for joining us. Today I'm going to be tying a beadhead Calvin shrimp. So I'll just start by adding a thread onto the hook. And the hook I'm using is it's a Sakuma mini mantra hook. It's actually a sea hook, but it's a very good wide gape hook and great for these bead heads. And I'll start adding on my rib. It's going to go on underneath. We'll just tie it on to just before the bend starts the hook. So it's just above the barb there. Okay, and because it's a single, we'll just start threading our way back to the head again. Then we'll do a few wraps of the gold oval, which will form as a tag, but we'll also use it as a rib. Okay. So a few turns to secure it. And then I'll just run it along the shank. Okay, and then I'm going to use this as a rib as well, so I can tuck it underneath and secure it again. This will make things a bit quicker. Okay, so the tail's in three parts for this one. So first part's going to be your red Arctic runner, and it's going to be layered. So your first part is going to be quite thick, and as they support the other two parts. So I'm going to cut off a piece, and I'm going to leave the underfur on this piece, but I'm going to remove the long guard hairs. I'm going to have this about the length of the shank, so about that there. Okay, I'm starting to run this up the shank again, and as I do, I'm going to add in the first bit of flesh, which is just a couple of bits of crystal flesh, copper crystal flesh. Again, this is just the way I've tied them. You could use gold, you could use pink, purple, doesn't really matter. Okay. So there's, what's that, 3 strands there, that'll be plenty. And that'll give a wee bit of support, there's a wee bit of spring out there. The centre of the tail is going to be orange runner, so it's a bit thinner, not as much bulk in this part. So first thing I do is I'll hold about halfway and just remove all the underfur. Then I'm going to take some of the guard hairs out and leave those to the side. I'm going to tie this in. I'm going to tie this in about twice the length of the first section. Okay, so I'm tying it around the middle here. I'm not tying it all at the bottom. And then as I'm working up, I'm going to add in a few more of the guard hairs, but have them really, really long. So if you imagine if them in the current, they'll be flickering, similar to the way you would have feelers on some of the flies. I would hope that this would give loads of movement. Okay, so that's your middle section. And then above this, another bit of flesh. I'm going to use some softer stuff, so these are just craft fibres, but very similar to angel hair. So it's like, this would be like gold holographic angel hair, you could call it. But it's about 1/10 of the price. I got that full bag for about £2, and I've used that for about 2 years now, and you hardly even know it's being used. So I've got about, I don't know, 8 strands or so of that, so I'm just going to cut them down about the length of the tail. Okay, and then the top of the tail is going to be pink or magenta runner. And again, this is going to be a wee bit thinner than the middle section too. So I'm going to remove the long guard hairs for this one, and also the underfur. So each layer has a different style of putting it on. I'm going to put this on the same length as the first section. and that those two sections at the same length hopefully support that middle section, which is longer, so it doesn't wrap. And then that's all of your parts complete for the tail. So you can start bringing them down towards the tag, and the tag will start kicking it out a bit more. If you were to tie them all down to the tag, your bulkiness of the thread would naturally avoid that kick. Okay, up enough of that there. So I always like to wet the tail just to see the profile. That looks nice to me. Okay, so I'm going to cut off the excess here. Lost my good scissors, so I'll need the other these, which isn't too bad. I'll do the job. Okay. Okay, so for the body, it's going to be a dubbed mix. So it's red fur mixed with yellow light brite. Wee bit more fur than light brite in this one, but it's up to yourself. So to dub it on, what I do is I start putting a wee bit on the thread, but don't twist on too much. And I do a few wraps to anchor it in, and then once it's anchored I can twist the fur on the thread like that there, and then just run it up the body. Okay, you see I'm going right up to the bead here because we're going to be tying right up to it. Okay, then we're going to rib the body, but before we do that there, I want to sneak the rib underneath the tail here. Just tight to the under the side of the tail, and then start ribbing up, and that will make sure that you're not going to have any, it'll avoid any wraps, you know, your tail wrapping around the hook. Okay, so about 4 or 5 turns up the body, and then tie that in. Secure it with a few wraps. Okay. If you wanted, you could brush that out a wee bit. That's straggly enough, so I'm not going to bother. But if after your ribbon it's very compacted, you put a wee bit of Velcro or rub a dubbing brush on. So for the wing, it's going to use hot orange fox. So I'll just take a pinch of this off. And again, with this, I remove the underfur. And then as well as that, I remove most of the guard hairs, so they're a lot stiffer. And you want a nice mobile wing. Don't have to get them all now. The guard hairs for this, depending on the way it's dyed, will be a lot shinier. So they're a lot easier to find. But I think that's enough. That's about half the guard hairs done. Should be mobile enough. Okay. Just a wee light wing, and we're also going to have jungle cock in the wing here too. Okay, now I've tied this on loosely. I'm not going to pull it tight because it'll pull the cut end in underneath the bead, which is what we're planning to do. I'll give it that neater finish. Okay, so as I pull tight, see it's bringing that in. And we'll tighten it up there a bit. Okay. And then also part of the wing is their jungle cock. So I've got two feathers prepared here. You could put them on after the hackle, but I always put them on. I usually put them on before. This is one feather. If you watch any of my other videos, you'll know I absolutely hate putting on jungle cock. It's so fiddly. To be honest with you, I always put them on McAlvin's, but there's some flies band special that never even bother. Don't think it's needed. But I think it's a confidence thing, isn't it? Okay, so I'm going to tie these on and make sure they're nice and level. Okay, I'm happy enough with that there. Right then, before I fully cut these down, I'm going to put a bit of super glue on just to secure that. I'm putting a bit of super glue on about an inch with the thread. I'm going to wrap that up to the jungle cock eggs so they don't slip. And then I'm going to cut off the last bit of excess. I'll be tying it up with the salmon leg so it'll get neater. Okay. The hackle, there's two parts to this. So first part's going to be your hot orange. Okay, so before I do that there, I'm going to wax the thread a little bit. Might still have a wee bit of that glue still wet, which will make this really secure. I've broken off the tip of the fibre and then I double back again. Okay. And then I'm going to trim the fibres to point downwards. And double it back. Because it's quite a small fly, I'm just going to do 2 wraps. So after the first wrap, I'm going to remove a wee bit of what I think would be the second wrap. And then I'm going to wrap the second wrap round and secure that in. Okay. Then the last thing we need to do is add in a red badger hackle. If you're using like a wee size 14 or a wee mini tube or something like that there, I've done them before using orange badger hackle on its own. It's a real nice looking fly as well, so that's something to think about if you're doing a smaller fly. Again, I've broken off the tip, then I've doubled back on it. Okay. I'd say probably 2 wraps of this will be more than enough. With 1 wrap. Okay, that's your second. That's us right up to the bead, which will give us a nice finish hopefully. So a couple of turns is secured. Then I'm going to bend the stock back on itself. I'm going to tie on top of that stock again too. Okay. That's your fly complete. So it's a bit fiddly trying to varnish. I'm going to neaten up that a wee bit. It's a bit fiddly trying to varnish your bead heads. So what I do is I get my varnish before I do my whip finish. Similar to what I do with the super glue there. And just put a couple of inches of varnish on. And then I just tie that on the head now. And a bit finish on top of it. 1, 2. Still got a very secure fly. And because I'm using varnish, not super glue, it's because I usually use super glue to first coat that will start to seep into the thread in the next few minutes. And that's it, folks. That's your Beadhead Calvin. Very popular fly in Ireland anyway. I only really seem to use them in the foil system, but if you've any experience yourself with the Beadhead, sure, drop us a wee comment. I don't know if they work where you fish as well, and hopefully you enjoyed that. If you like the video, guys, wee thumbs up, and as before, sure, hit the subscribe button if you're not already a subscriber. Until next time, tight lines, all the best.